This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
All right, today we are talking about mindset as a powerful tool to build health and create the life you want. If you feel stuck, overwhelmed, like a lot of us do, and maybe you've tried everything, well, this is for you. Cristina Clark joining us today. She's a master health coach, and she's here with her guest, Delphine, who's a client, to share what it really looks like when you're thinking about shifts first, and then your life starts to follow. So excited to be here, and thank you, both of you for joining us today. So first and foremost, if you don't mind, let me just ask just a little bit about yourself so people out there who know who you are, and just tell us about Delphine, and then we'll get right to it.
Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so go ahead, Cristina.
Okay, so I'm Cristina Clark, and I am a coach, and I really am working with women who are in midlife, who are dealing with all kinds of unexplained health issues, and some of them are dealing with menopausal symptoms. And I am here to tell them that it is not a disease you have been diagnosed with. It is a graduation from part of your life into a new era. And I am so excited to have Delphine with me today because we've been working together for 8 weeks, and we actually have gotten so many things done, so many breakthroughs for her because she was able to take the mindset piece and really just run with it. So I would love for Delphine to introduce herself and tell us about her experience, meeting me, working with me, and what she's noticed.
Great. Go ahead. Let's talk a little bit. And also, we want to start with the, when you say mindset, right? Because that's a real tool that helps build health and create the life you want. What does that mean in plain language?
Oh, yeah. So mindset is the lens that you see yourself through.
Okay.
It really determines how stressed you feel, how you interpret setbacks, when you take action or when you shut down. So when women change their story in their head, they can reduce stress, they can show up differently in their life, and they can make better choices and just live the life that they want to live.
Amazing. All right. And so go ahead. Did I step the gun here? Go ahead. What else did you want to say before we continue?
I just wanted Delphine to say hi.
Hi, Delphine.
Good morning.
Good morning. You got to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how the two of you met, if you don't mind.
I'm a 63-year-old retired school teacher living in the desert. Love it here. And I have dealt with complex chronic issues, as they're labeled, my whole life, born with all kinds of interesting diagnoses. And I started trying carnivore last year after doing a lot of research and watching people in interviews like the one that you had with Cristina.
Yeah.
And trying to learn about it. And I tried it last year and ended up hitting some speed bumps. And I thought, if I can't do carnivore, I was at the end of my road.
Yeah.
Labels thrown at me, things like you'll be in a wheelchair. I even got a diagnosis that told me that it would kill me in 2 years. And so I was trying everything, trying to be positive, saying I have an opportunity here, according to all of these other people, to do something about it. But even with all of my research, I was hitting roadblocks. And one day I saw an interview. Cristina was telling her story on Dave Mack on YouTube. And when she started listing a couple of the things the roadblocks that she had been in, that were part of her life,
Yeah.
I knew that I could relate to her and they could relate to me. And that's how I met her.
Oh, wonderful.
I decided to reach out. Yeah. And, by the second session, so we were talking every week, and by the second session, that's when I experienced a perspective change. And it was almost like a miracle Christina brought her experience to my world of confusion and overwhelm. It wasn't easy for me just to say, I'm going to change my diet.
Mm-hmm.
I have too many other nuances with my health. It's pretty complicated. And when she started asking the right questions, it was like something changed in my brain. And I thought, what if? Because those were the words that she said to me. She said, what if this is your body healing? What if you try X, Y, and Z? She gave me options and listened to how I was responding to those options, things that I was trying. And once I changed that perspective with her help, I thought I could do it by myself. I
Yeah.
honestly did. And I realized I needed a coach. And so I was glad when she was able to listen the way that she did
Yeah.
and then help me question the way I was thinking about things. And
Mm.
it made a difference within 10 days. I couldn't believe it. Calming down my nervous system is is the first thing that happened. And it was just from the questions that she asked.
Amazing. Well, do you mind sharing a little bit about, basically what was stuck in a sense? And what does stuck usually look like for women in general, if you don't mind? I can go back and forth to Christina, Delphine, whoever wants to start with that one.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Christina.
So I think that a lot of women are stuck in the negativity and they just keep rehearsing that in their mind. I can't be fixed. My life is stuck this way. I'm not going to get better. And when we really look at what's actually happening and then we question the what if, question the way they're thinking and ask them, could you think a different thought? They actually didn't even think of that. Like Delphine is
Mm-hmm.
very educated. She has a lot of education and she was gone down the rabbit hole, but she didn't know she needed someone to really look at them and be like, huh, that's not even true. Why am I chasing this? Because it's actually not even true. So, mindset is a big word that's overused, but I like to call it perspective because when you shift your perspective, you can change your life. You can become a different person. Delphine went outside. I'd love for her to tell the story that really spurred on this entire change. How I asked her to go outside and do something and come back in. And we'd worked on her main health goal and she had chosen that. But we worked deeply on mindset. That's a lot that I
Yeah.
do with clients. Go ahead, Delphine.
She told me to write down all my diagnoses because there's more than 35
Mm.
that I've
Wow.
been labeled with. She told me to write down my diagnoses and go outside and burn them.
Safely burn them.
Okay, I did. I did. It's not who I am. And that was one of the first questions that she ever asked me that made sense. And I think you need somebody with experience and somebody with some object
Oh, you.
reevaluate what it is that you're doing
Mm-hmm.
and as a client. And because I was experiencing all kinds of side effects and I was mostly just afraid, I think. Afraid of all of those diagnoses, afraid of
Yeah.
what doctors have told me. And it's not permanent. It's epigenetics, lifestyle, diet, it can all change. It can all change for the good. So I
Amazing.
did. I went outside and burned everything, burned the diagnoses and it changed how I thought about myself.
Wow. Well, also, I want to hear about, being overwhelmed, right? Because when people, including myself, and a lot of us are always overwhelmed, right? So, how do you choose really the main health goal when you do have a lot going on? Where do we even get started to focus on one in a sense, you know?
Yeah. So what I do is once a client has invested and gets started with me, the very first session is going to be a onboarding. We talk about the
Okay.
client's responsibility, my responsibility, how we're going to work together when we'll meet. And then we go into what is their main health goal and why is that important to them? Because usually when they have a lot going on, they don't know where to look and they're so chasing symptoms instead of like looking for the root. So I just ask them many questions about like, what do you think you need to work on? Why is that important? And we just keep digging until we find something that they go, oh, that's my main health goal. And then that's what we're going to focus on our entire relationship is working on the main health goal and finding ways to get there. So when we talked, she actually had one main health goal and we realized later that she shifted it. She decided, you know what, that's not the main health goal. Let's look at my nervous system. So
Yeah.
then we started talking about how the nervous system is affected by the way that we sleep, the way that we eat, the way that we move our body, the way that we think. All of these things, the way that we handle stress, these are important things. And so we look at the whole picture and then we did let the client decides what they want to do to work on that goal. And then I support them. I'm like the passenger with the map and they are the driver and they get to tell me what they want to do. And then I just ask the right questions to help them really become aware of what is important and what they want to do.
She's questioned me and called me out and asked me to consider all sides of things. And not because she's making the decision, but because she's thinking of things that I hadn't thought of and helping me to focus by
Mm-hmm.
reminding me what affects everything. And so if I start off with one goal, like she said, my digestion, which I've dealt with my whole life, she helped me to understand that your central nervous system affects your digestion and your sleep. Calm down in my brain and realize that there was a positive side to everything, even the days I have to spend in bed. That's There's something positive about that. It's listening to my body, it's doing what I need to be doing and respecting the process.
Yeah. Well, also, I know the two of you have been working together. How long now, by the way, has it
It's been
been?
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Mhm.
Wow. All right. And how long does it normally take to make a change, right? I know everyone's different, but to establish new patterns and habits, what do they say?
They usually say anywhere from 21 to 30 days,
Okay.
but I find it's nuanced. It depends on
Okay.
the person and their readiness. And I believe that Delphine was really ready to do something different. And she was really desperate at that moment. And when we came together, she at the onboarding call, even the intake call that I did with her, she had huge shifts that day. So just the process of getting from where she was and realizing, because she had some really big epiphanies as we worked together, even just very in the first 3 sessions.
Yep.
She saw like huge change, but it's the person's readiness and
Yep.
how sick are they of what they've been dealing with and how ready are they to make a change? Because
Yeah.
change is hard. It's
Yeah.
not easy.
I know. Well, also, let me ask, what are some maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-negotiables, right? 3 to 5, maybe
Mm.
that can help reduce stress and create some more consistency.
Well, I don't like to tell them they're non-negotiables, but I help them to establish them. So with Delphine, we were like, okay, what does she really need to do? She decided, and I'll let her tell more about that, but like she needed to eat more. She needed to, I'd rather her tell that part, but I tell my clients, we want to move our body. We want to fuel our body with proper nutrition, and we want to make sure we're getting enough sleep and we want to question everything we're thinking.
Yeah.
Because when you're stuck in a pattern where you're like, I'm failing, I'm broken, this isn't working, I just can't make it happen for me. These are things that will keep you stuck forever. But if you decide everything is a possibility or an opportunity to change, you just have to decide. And so for me, let's talk about my non-negotiables. I get up in the morning, I go outside, I get first light. So when the sun's coming up, I go outside and I get first light. I also walk. And my goal now is 10,000 steps a day. So I'm working on that every day. And then I make sure that I eat enough food every day. These are my
Yeah.
three main non negotiables.
Got it. Interesting. Anything else you want to piggyback on?
I fat. I was afraid of fat, what it was doing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So eating enough fat, because I now understand, even though I'd done the research and listened to a lot of podcasts, talking to Christina helped me to understand more of the mechanisms behind
Yeah.
fat and what it can do for me. But I do the same thing. I mean, living in Arizona, sunrises and sunsets, movement, water, salt, and food. And that includes meat, butter, and salt for me. I'm working towards lion diet because I am choosing to try whatever it takes in order to heal.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And also, what about, would you say, what does the biggest needle mover mean, really? And how do you find that? We kind of discussed that, but could you just share?
For me, it was mindset. It was as
Yeah.
simple as Christina saying to me, "What if this is your body healing instead of
Mm-hmm.
being upset?" Sorry about the sun. Being upset about needing to spend 4 or 5 hours in bed. Let's respect what your body is
Yeah.
telling you. And so um it's I was trying to figure out what the magic was of hiring a coach. And it's having somebody listen to you, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of good doctors, but it's not the same as when you're sitting there talking to an experienced health coach who has been on the same journey as you. So when she's changed everything, and now it's almost like a game. What if I tried to eat even though I'm not hungry? What if I decide to get up and move even though I feel tired?
Yeah.
There's always possibilities, and being open to it and being encouraged by someone as positive as Christina made a big difference.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. It's always great to hear positive experiences. Now, what's the one phrase would you say women tell themselves that really, sabotages progress? And what could be a better replacement for this?
Yeah. Are you talking to me? So I think going from I'm struggling or I'm stuck or this is what I have going on,
Mm-hmm.
I taught Delphine to say I'm noticing, you
Hmm.
know? And
That's
she's just
that's my
learning new
new favorite
words.
word. Yeah, that's my new
Yeah.
favorite word. I'm noticing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what can I do that actually can move me from panic to action?
And noticing things without judgment gives you an opportunity to reach into your tool bag. And I have a tool bag like everybody else: breathing, butter, salt, water, movement. Um, just anything that you can do in that moment becomes part of your tool bag. And it's once you change your perspective, um, you can start using those tools, and it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Well, also, let me ask you about, you're not the diagnosis, right? You wrote about this, Christina. What does that mean when you say that? Because how does that change your decisions day to day when you are not your diagnosis, in a sense?
Yeah. So when I talk to women and they keep naming things, like the conversation I had with Delphine was, I have these 35 things going on, and she told me every single one, and I let her just say that so she could get it off her chest. But I explained to her that a diagnosis can really tell you what's happening, but it's not going to define who you are or what is possible for you because we're separate. We have a separate identity, and it may be part of our experience, but it's not what you should focus on because, if you focus on those things, you're not going to get what you want in life. You're actually going to stay stuck. I would love for Delphine to talk about that and what she went from I am this to,
Yeah.
I have this health goal. Yeah.
So the just the fact that I was born with certain things and have for decades believed that that was my destiny, probably had some sort of a negative effect on what was going on, because you live in fear of, I have EDS, Ehlers-Danlos, so you live in fear of the next subluxation or dislocation, or and when Christina asked me to stop thinking of myself or stop defining myself with those diagnoses,
Yeah.
and it we had to find an alternative, and the
Mm-hmm.
alternative was I have control over
Yeah.
certain things in my life. That's the epigenetics, and let's decide what I have control over and make a decision to do it. Just like you make a decision to start exercising,
Yeah.
you just absolutely, you have to, that's what moved the needle. You make that one decision to do that one thing. But having somebody help me pare it down made a big difference, because I'm trying to address all of these symptoms
Yeah.
and diagnoses that I've been dealing with my whole life, on and off, I mean, it comes and goes, but it made a big difference just to focus on my perspective, because then
Mm-hmm.
everything else was available to me. When you're stuck in fear and panic and overwhelm, because I was overwhelmed by all of the information, and when you're stuck in that, you don't get anywhere. But once you just take a breath and calm down, I thought I could do it by myself. I really did. Because
Yeah.
the things that I'm saying to you right now
Mm-hmm.
sound so basic, but
No.
sometimes you need help. And
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I'm
I
so
see
grateful.
that. This is
Yeah.
beautiful. All right. We only have 2 more minutes left in the show. Unfortunately, we do have to go. How did you guys want to kind of sum this up? Christina, where did you want to kind of leave us off today?
Yeah, so I want women to think that everything in their life is a possibility and they can change their health, they can make a U-turn. And if you are someone who is struggling and you don't know which way to go and you're chasing symptoms and you're chasing diets, it's really important to find some help so that you can get someone to help you see things differently. And then you can actually make changes that stick and they become your identity. So I am so thankful that Delphine was able to make it today and to share her story of how she went from being really overwhelmed to making so many huge changes in her life and just testing everything she's been told, which is amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. And how did you want to leave off, Delphine?
I'm grateful that there are people like you and Christina,
Ah,
the other promoters out there that are offering us alternatives to help ourselves.
beautiful. Well, thank you both so much for being here, for joining us. I appreciate it. Wishing you the best, Delphine, and so glad, with all this working together with your coach, with mindset is helping, and we know we could do the same for so many. So, Christina, how can we contact you if someone does want to reach out to you?
They can go to my website and I have a contact form on there. They can also listen to my podcast. So my website is carnivorelifestyle.com.
Okay.
And then I have a podcast. It's called Carnivore Lifestyle for Women on Apple and anywhere else. And I also have an Instagram. It's my.carnivore.lifestyle.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. You have a fantastic day, and looking forward to the next time we connect. All right. Thank you so much.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.